My precious child, there is a reason this moment feels unlike the many moments that came before it. If something quietly led you here today, even if you cannot fully understand the reason, listen closely to that inner feeling. Sometimes life begins shifting in silence, before any clear evidence appears. Sometimes the greatest changes begin in places we cannot see, moving gently beneath the surface before the world notices anything different. This could be one of those rare moments. Before this day arrived, before you reached this exact point, a thought about you entered someone's mind with a powerful intensity. It was not a random thought that appeared briefly and vanished. It was something that stayed. It came back repeatedly. Each time it returned, it became more difficult for them to push away. What began as a small curiosity slowly transformed into something much stronger. Even now, as you hear these words, that feeling may still be growing somewhere outside your view. Do not rush to ignore this message. Stay with it. There may be something important happening quietly in the background. There is someone who has reached a point where their vision of the future feels incomplete without the possibility of you being part of it. This realization caught them off guard. They never imagined their feelings would become this strong. In the beginning, they tried to convince themselves it was nothing serious. They told themselves they were only interested because you seemed unique compared to the people they had known before. Later, they described it as respect and appreciation. They believed they simply admired certain parts of who you are. But slowly they started noticing more than they expected. They began paying attention to the smallest details about you, the way you express yourself, the way you truly listen when someone speaks, the way you take a moment before answering, the calm energy you carry even when nobody is trying to impress anyone, the way your presence remains in their thoughts even after you leave. At first, these things seemed like simple details that anyone could notice. Nothing extraordinary, nothing dramatic. But with time, those small moments started connecting together and creating a much bigger image inside their heart and mind. Without realizing it, they were building a deeper understanding of you. A feeling started forming that they could no longer easily explain. Slowly, you became someone they looked forward to seeing. They started valuing moments connected to you more than they expected. They remembered conversations that others might have forgotten. They returned to simple memories and found themselves discovering emotions hidden inside those moments. They wondered why certain words stayed with them. They wondered why certain memories felt different. And then something happened that changed the way they saw everything. It was a moment you probably did not recognize as important. You may have walked away thinking it was just another ordinary interaction, but for them it became a memory they carried quietly. Maybe it was something you said without thinking. Maybe it was a small gesture. Maybe it was the kindness you showed when nobody expected it. Maybe it was only a peaceful moment where nothing needed to be said. Whatever happened, something about that moment touched a deeper place inside them. Even after it ended, they continued thinking about it. Days passed, but the memory remained. Weeks went by, yet it still returned to them. Even after months, that moment continued living inside their thoughts. Yet that memory continued keeping a special place inside their heart. Since that day, they have quietly compared many normal moments of life to that one experience. Somehow that single memory still feels different from everything else. What makes this even more meaningful is that they are no longer thinking only about how you are or what you are doing. Their thoughts have slowly moved towards something deeper. They have started imagining what life could look like if your journey and their journey continued moving together in the same direction. This thought did not appear suddenly. It came after uncertainty. It came after hesitation. It came after many moments when they tried convincing themselves to ignore what they were feeling. Several times they told themselves to slow down. Several times they tried to shift their attention somewhere else. Several times they wondered if they were creating a meaning that was not really there. But every attempt brought them back to the same truth. The feeling remained. It did not disappear. Instead of becoming weaker, it became easier to understand. Instead of becoming smaller, it started becoming stronger. What makes this different is that they are not following emotion alone. They are observing carefully. They are thinking deeply about what truly matters. They notice the calm that enters their life when you are around. They notice how conversations with you stay in their mind longer than expected. They notice how simple memories connected to you feel brighter than many major moments from their past. These realizations have become harder and harder to ignore. Stay with this thought, because there is something deeper unfolding here. Some people enter our lives for a short time. Some people appear during one chapter and then quietly disappear when that chapter ends. But every once in a while, someone arrives whose presence begins influencing future choices before anything has even been clearly expressed. You are becoming that kind of presence in someone's world. That is why there have been moments when they seem distant or unusually quiet. That silence was not meaningless. Behind that silence, there was reflection. Behind that silence, there were questions. They were thinking about possibilities they never expected to consider. What if this feeling is real? What if this connection has a deeper purpose? What if this person is not just another temporary chapter? What if this moment is opening a new direction in life? Those thoughts keep returning. And even if they have not spoken these feelings openly, small actions have already started revealing what is happening inside them. Maybe they look for reminders of you more often now. Maybe they notice when you are not around. Maybe they remember small details you mentioned that even you no longer remember. Maybe they replay conversations in their mind after everyone else has moved on. This is not happening without reason. Something inside them has connected meaning to your presence. And that meaning continues growing because they recognize something uncommon in you, something that is difficult to explain but impossible to ignore. They see your quiet confidence. They see your honesty. They see the emotional depth you carry. They see qualities that feel rare in a world where many people only show what is on the surface. Many people search for attention. Many people try to appear impressive. But you bring something different. You bring authenticity. You bring a sense of comfort. You bring a presence that feels genuine. And that difference has affected them more than you may realize. What they feel is not based only on excitement or temporary emotions. It is not something that exists only during perfect moments. It is becoming connected to something deeper, something built on understanding, respect, and the feeling that this connection could survive changes and challenges. That is why thoughts about the future started appearing before they expected them to. Sometimes a person recognizes peace before they can explain where it comes from. Sometimes the heart notices value before the mind can create the right words. That is exactly what they are experiencing now. Even if they still look unsure from the outside, they may be much closer to understanding their feelings than you realize. There is also something they have kept private, something they have not easily shared with others. More than once they have imagined having an honest conversation with you. They have imagined opening up and expressing what has been growing inside them. They have pictured how they would begin. They have thought about what words they would choose. They have wondered how you might react. But each time they reach that moment, hesitation appears, not because the feeling is missing, not because they do not care, but because it matters so much. When something becomes valuable, people become careful. They worry about choosing the wrong words. They worry about moving too fast. They worry about hurting something that could become meaningful. That is where they are right now, standing between staying silent and speaking honestly, standing between being cautious and being brave, standing between uncertainty and taking a step forward. They are trying to understand when the right moment will arrive. Recently, something may have changed that made these feelings even more noticeable. Maybe there was a little distance between you. Maybe conversations became less frequent. Maybe life became busy and created space between your paths. Maybe there was simply a quiet period where things felt different. Whatever the reason, that space gave them a chance to recognize something important. They realized how much your presence had started to matter. They realized how strongly they noticed your absence. Sometimes people understand the value of something when they experience a moment without it. Sometimes quiet moments reveal emotions that constant closeness hides. That period of distance showed them something powerful. It showed them that you had already become important in their thoughts. It showed them that your place in their life was larger than they had admitted. It showed them that this feeling was not just a passing moment. That realization carried a certain weight. Because once someone begins seeing a future connected to another person, everything starts to feel different. Choices feel more meaningful. Hopes become stronger. Questions become harder to ignore. That is why the idea of creating something genuine has started appearing in their mind. Not because every answer is already clear, not because the entire future has been written, but because something inside them no longer wants to treat this connection as something ordinary. And what is happening beneath the surface may be much bigger than it appears from the outside. While you wonder why this person continues coming to mind, someone may already be looking at life differently because your presence became part of their story. Thoughts they expected to disappear continue returning. Memories they believed would fade continue staying alive. Questions they thought would become quiet continue becoming stronger. A normal day suddenly changes because a memory of you appears. A simple moment becomes meaningful because they remember something you once said. A peaceful evening becomes filled with thoughts because they are reminded of your presence. And every time this happens, they find themselves asking the same questions. Why does this feel different? Why does this continue growing instead of disappearing? Why does this remain even as time moves forward? They have searched for answers. They have looked at their emotions carefully. They have tried understanding why this connection feels so different from the others they have experienced. They have asked themselves the same questions again and again. They have searched for explanations. They have looked at every possible reason, yet every road continues bringing them back to the same realization. This feeling carries something deeper than they first understood. In the beginning, they thought it was only temporary interest. They believed it was simply curiosity or a passing moment of attention. But then something changed. They noticed the feeling remained even during difficult times. It remained through busy days. It remained through distractions. It remained even when there was space between you. It remained even when uncertainty created doubts. And that taught them something they could no longer ignore. Genuine feelings do not vanish just because situations become complicated. Genuine feelings continue existing even when circumstances are not perfect. They continue quietly speaking even when there are no words being exchanged. That is why they now find themselves looking toward the future and asking one powerful question. Would the life they imagine truly feel complete if you were not part of it? This question has become harder to avoid. The more they reflect on it, the more meaningful the answer becomes. Because every future they picture somehow feels warmer when you are included. Every dream feels more connected. Every plan feels more valuable. Every possibility feels more alive. And even though they may not fully understand the exact moment when everything changed, they cannot ignore what has happened inside them. You have become part of their thoughts. You have become part of their quiet wishes. You have become part of the future they secretly picture. But this does not mean every detail has already been written. It does not mean every decision has already been made. Life still moves through choices. Life still requires patience. Life still carries unknown moments. Yet something meaningful has already started forming. A small feeling has become something stronger. A simple thought has become a deeper connection. A possibility has begun turning into something that feels real. And with every passing day, that feeling appears to become clearer. They continue noticing the qualities that make you different. They notice your strength when challenges appear. They notice your kindness when nobody is expecting anything from you. They notice your patience. They notice your ability to keep moving forward, even during moments when life becomes difficult. They notice the parts of you that many people might overlook because they are hidden beneath the surface. And the more they recognize these qualities, the more admiration grows alongside their feelings, because what truly affects them is not only the version of you they see during your happiest moments. It is the person you remain during ordinary days. It is your character when there is no audience. It is the honesty and authenticity you carry without needing to prove anything. Those qualities create a lasting impression. Those qualities stay in the mind. those qualities become difficult to forget. So while you continue walking through your own journey, focusing on your own days and your own dreams, remember this possibility: somewhere beyond what you can see, someone may be carrying thoughts about you that have become increasingly difficult to silence. Someone may be holding questions inside that they never expected to ask. Someone may be imagining possibilities they never thought they would consider. And with each passing day, those thoughts continue becoming clearer. They continue understanding that what they feel is not based on a single moment. It is not based only on excitement. It is connected to the many small experiences that slowly created a bigger picture. The conversations, the memories, the quiet moments, the simple actions that revealed who you truly are. Sometimes the strongest connections are not created through dramatic events. Sometimes they are built through small moments that quietly leave a mark. A kind word, a genuine smile, a moment of understanding, a feeling of peace that appears when someone is near you. These small pieces can become the foundation of something much deeper. And that is what they have started realizing. They are not only remembering what happened, they are recognizing how those moments made them feel. Stay with this thought, because sometimes the most important changes begin quietly before anyone else notices them. The feeling becomes easier to understand. The connection becomes more visible. The picture that once felt unclear slowly begins coming into focus. What started as a simple thought has transformed into something much more meaningful. What began as curiosity has developed into a deeper bond. What began as simple attention has become something that carries real importance. And what started quietly continues growing with every passing moment. The story is still being created. The next chapters have not been revealed yet. The future still holds many possibilities. But one thing has already become certain. You matter more than you may ever realize. Your presence has created an impact that goes beyond what you can see. And somewhere someone continues carrying that realization with them even now. Recently they began noticing something about you that reached far beyond appearance. It went deeper than conversations. It moved beyond simple interest. They started recognizing qualities within you that cannot be discovered through a first impression alone. They noticed the way you handle uncertainty. They noticed the way you continue walking forward, even when the path is unclear. They noticed the calm strength you carry during moments that might cause others to lose confidence. That strength stayed in their thoughts long after the moment ended. They remembered it during ordinary days. They thought about it during quiet moments. It returned when they least expected it, and slowly, a new understanding began forming inside them. This was not just another passing thought. This was not a temporary emotion that would disappear with time. This was something they kept returning to, something they continued feeling even when they tried not to. Carefully and honestly, a new possibility started growing. The possibility that this connection appeared in their life for a reason that deserved attention. And with every day that passes, that possibility feels more real than it did before. That realization changed the way they viewed everything. It became a moment of change they never saw coming. Since then, something inside them has been shifting slowly. It is not the kind of transformation that everyone around them would notice. It happens quietly beneath normal conversations, behind familiar routines, and within everyday moments that seem completely ordinary from the outside. They are no longer questioning whether you made an impression on them. They already know the answer. There is no longer uncertainty about whether you became someone memorable. The question they carry now is much deeper. They wonder if they are finally ready to move closer to what they have been feeling before too much time passes. They ask themselves if waiting longer is truly the right choice. They question whether silence is protecting them, or simply keeping them away from something meaningful. These thoughts continue returning because the emotion inside them refuses to disappear. This part of the journey matters more than most people understand. It is the stage where someone begins valuing a feeling before they ever speak it aloud. It is the moment when emotions quietly become stronger than explanations. The heart starts moving toward an answer before the mind knows how to describe it. That is why their conversations with you may still appear normal. Their words may sound calm. Their actions may seem careful. Nothing on the outside may look dramatically different. But beneath that calm surface, something much deeper is happening. Their feelings have become stronger than before. They may laugh, talk casually, and continue living their daily life. Yet after every interaction, their mind returns to those moments. They replay what was said. They remember your expressions. They remember the feeling of being around you. Small details that once seemed unimportant now carry a different meaning. Moments others might overlook become memories they hold on to. Even when they remain quiet, they are paying attention. And when they choose silence, it should not automatically be seen as a lack of emotion. Sometimes silence comes from caring deeply. Sometimes silence appears because a person understands that something valuable deserves patience. Sometimes people become quieter when they are trying not to make a mistake with something that matters. Silence does not always mean distance. Sometimes silence means the heart is becoming more careful than ever before. There is another reason their thoughts have started reaching further into the future. By now they have experienced enough moments to understand that you are not simply another person passing through their story. It is not because everything has been flawless. It is not because every problem has disappeared. It is not because every answer has already been discovered. It is because something about your presence gives them a feeling that has become difficult to find. You bring a sense of emotional peace. You create a feeling they struggle to explain. They cannot completely describe why they feel this way, but each passing day seems to strengthen that certainty instead of reducing it. There is also another thought they have quietly carried inside, a thought they rarely express. Sometimes they imagine what would happen if someone else became closer to you before they found the courage to show what they truly feel. That possibility affected them more than they expected. It forced them to face something they had been avoiding. The idea of losing the opportunity to discover where this connection could lead feels much heavier than they once imagined. They tried telling themselves there was plenty of time. They tried believing there was no need to rush, but that quiet concern kept returning until they could no longer push it aside. The realization followed them through peaceful nights when everything became still. It stayed with them during busy days when they tried focusing on responsibilities. Even when surrounded by others, the thought continued appearing. No matter how much they attempted to distract themselves, it remained because something inside them had already recognized its importance. Because of this, they have become more aware of the smallest details. They notice changes in your voice that many people would miss. They notice differences in your energy. They notice when your attention feels warmer and when you seem more distant. Even small shifts have started standing out to them. This does not happen because they want to control anything. It does not happen because they are creating a story that is not real. It happens because when someone begins imagining another person as part of their future, small moments begin carrying greater meaning. Simple actions begin revealing emotions. Quiet gestures begin saying more than words. A short conversation can stay in the mind longer than expected. A simple smile can become a memory. A small moment of understanding can become something unforgettable. Perhaps the thing that surprises them most is that they do not fully recognize how much their feelings are showing. They believe they are hiding everything well. They believe their calm behavior keeps their emotions protected. But the truth is, feelings often reveal themselves through small actions long before they are spoken. The way someone remembers, the way someone pays attention, the way someone continues returning to the same thoughts again and again. These quiet signs often reveal what words are still afraid to express.